Imagine a world where history took a different turn. A world where one of the greatest freedom fighters of India didn't meet his end on the gallows, but instead ignited a fire that would consume an empire. This isn't the story you were taught in school. This is the story of what could have been. The story of Bhagat Singh's great escape. Our story begins on March 23, 1931. The air in Lahore Central Jail is thick with a heavy, suffocating silence. Inside a dimly lit cell, a young man with fire in his eyes glances at a ticking clock. It's 6:30 p.m. In just 1 hour, at 7:30 p.m., Bhagat Singh, along with his comrades Sukhdev and Raguru, is scheduled to be executed. The British Empire, confident in its power, is preparing to make an example of these revolutionaries. But destiny, it seems, has other plans. What if, in that final hour, the unbreakable chain of British authority had a weak link? What if a carefully crafted plan, a whisper of a conspiracy, was about to unfold? Tonight at 7:30, Bhagat Singh was supposed to become a martyr. But 1 hour before, something unspoken, something unimaginable, was already in motion. The British colonial system, for all its might and meticulous planning, was still a machine run by humans. And humans, by their very nature, are fallible. The system's weakness, its fatal flaw, was routine. Every evening at precisely 6 p.m., the guards changed shifts. It was a moment of structured chaos, a brief window where attention lapsed and procedures could be momentarily overlooked. It was a detail the British took for granted, but for the revolutionaries, it was the chink in the armor they had been searching for. Inside the prison walls, not every man in a uniform served the crown. Some wore the khaki of the British police, but their hearts beat for a free India. One such man, a patriotic guard, was on duty that evening. He was the inside man, the key to unlocking not just a cell, but the future of a nation. For weeks, a secret network of revolutionaries, operating in the shadows of Lahore, had been communicating with him. They had studied the jail's layout, the guards' routines, the delivery schedules. They knew that a supply cart was due to enter the prison grounds just after the shift change. The plan was audacious, bordering on insane. But for them, the choice was simple: today or never. The moment was now. As the 6 p.m. bell tolled, signaling the guard change, a palpable tension filled the air. One guard, flustered and distracted by a staged argument nearby, hastily leaves his post, forgetting a small yet crucial item on a table: a set of keys. At the same time, a nondescript supply cart rumbles through the prison gates, its contents seemingly harmless. But hidden within, beneath a pile of sacks, lies a figure, another revolutionary, ready to play his part. The fatal mistake had been made. The stage was set. In the dark, narrow corridor leading to the high-security cells, silence is the only weapon. Every shadow seems to hold its breath. Our patriotic guard, his heart pounding against his ribs, moves with a nervous energy. He gives a quick, almost imperceptible nod to a figure lurking in the shadows, the man from the supply cart. He reaches the cell of Bhagat Singh. His hands, trembling slightly, find the lock. The click of the metal as the key turns sounds like a thunderclap in the oppressive quiet. He pulls the heavy iron door open. Bhagat Singh steps out, but this is not the image of a defeated prisoner. There is no weakness in his eyes, no sign of despair. He stands tall, his gaze sharp and unwavering. He is not a victim awaiting his fate. He is a leader taking control of his destiny. He meets the guard's anxious eyes and gives a single, firm nod. A nod of gratitude, of shared purpose, of a revolution reborn. There was no noise, no alarm, no trace left behind. In that moment, a group of determined patriots, armed with nothing but courage and a brilliant plan, had completely blindsided the might of the British Empire. They moved like ghosts through the corridors, melting into the very shadows that were meant to contain them. 7:30 p.m., the appointed hour of execution. A senior British officer, his chest puffed out with colonial pride, walks towards the cell. He carries an air of smug satisfaction, eager to witness the end of the man who dared to challenge the crown. He imagines the report he will write, the praise he will receive for overseeing the final chapter of the Lahore conspiracy case. He arrives at the cell, inserts the key, and swings the door open, a cruel smile playing on his lips. But the smile vanishes instantly. It's replaced by a mask of pure, unadulterated terror. His eyes widen, his jaw drops. The cell is empty. Bhagat Singh is gone. The officer stumbles back, his mind refusing to process what his eyes are seeing. His dream of a triumphant evening shatters into a million pieces. A choked gasp escapes his lips, followed by a frantic, guttural scream. The deafening, clanging sound of the alarm bell erupts, tearing through the prison. Panic spreads like wildfire. Guards run in every direction, orders are screamed, the sound of breaking glass echoes as a frantic, fruitless search begins. Bhagat Singh had vanished. The news shot through the administration like a bolt of lightning, shaking the very foundations of British authority in India. The prisoner was gone, and the entire government was thrown into chaos. Far from the pandemonium of Lahore Central Jail, a rickety bullock cart trundles along a dark, deserted country road. Under the vast, starlit sky, a hooded figure sits silently. As the cart moves further and further away, the distant lights of the prison disappear over the horizon. The figure slowly reaches up and pulls down the hood. It is Bhagat Singh. He looks back one last time at the prison, now just a dark memory. A slow, determined smile spreads across his face. It's not a smile of relief, but a smile of purpose. The British had wanted to create a martyr, a symbol to be mourned. Instead, they had unleashed something far more dangerous. He was not a martyr anymore. He was a living fire. And his fire was about to spread, to set the whole of India ablaze with the spirit of revolution. The man they thought they had silenced was now free, and his voice would be heard louder than ever before. The martyr was gone. The revolutionary was born. The escape was not an end, but a new beginning. Bhagat Singh knew he couldn't operate in the open. The British would launch the biggest manhunt in the history of the Raj. Every city, every village would be crawling with soldiers and informants. So he had to disappear. He had to become a ghost, a legend whispered in secret gatherings. He was now going underground. His new mission, to build a new army. Not just an army of young men with pistols, but an army of ideas, an army of organized resistance that could strike at the very heart of the colonial machine. He envisioned a network of secret cells, a parallel government, a force that could unite the fragmented efforts of freedom fighters across the subcontinent. From a hidden safe house, surrounded by maps of India and clandestine documents, a new strategy was being forged. The game had changed. It was no longer about symbolic acts of defiance. It was about a systematic dismantling of the British Raj. Would he succeed? Could one man, a fugitive from the world's most powerful empire, truly build an army capable of uprooting a regime that had stood for centuries? The revolution was just beginning. Find out what happens next in episode 2. Will Bhagat Singh's secret army rise to the challenge? Subscribe Jayesh Ki Duniya now and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter of this epic saga. Thanks for watching.